Alright, I was using this helmet in another video and it's rather interesting, so I thought I'd do a helmet review for it. As you can see, the main and most interesting feature is it has a cat stenciled on the side. Now, I don't know why, I don't know what the insignia is for, but I like cats, so of course when I saw this helmet, I had to have it. Thinking though, cats are known for agility, speed, stealth, and if you notice, the tail is like a lightning bolt, which implies suddenness or a strike. So I would surmise that it's probably some kind of recon unit, but I don't really know. So if you know, post below. Anyway, back to the helmet. It is a later model RJ stampings made by Canada, and the way I can tell is the lot number. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. So the lot number is 609 and it's small font. It doesn't have an I or a 1 in front of it, so we know it's not a later Ingersoll manufacturer. And the reason why I have it circled is RJ stampings, well, perish as well, but RJ, actually more perish than RJ stampings, but they can be pretty much anywhere inside the shell. They're rather lackadaisical how they stamped them. So once I find it, I circle it so I can go back to it. Though this one's rather deeply incised. The other way I can tell it's an RJ stampings is the rim is made of stainless steel. So if you see a non-Euroclone helmet, low dome with a stainless steel rim, you know it's RJ stampings because American manufacturers didn't do that. Now, whether they found some left over from World War II or they just, that was their manufacturing process, I don't know, I can't tell you. It is mixed. Some have manganese rims, some have stainless steel rims. But if it's a low dome, non-Euroclone with a stainless steel rim, you know it's RJ stamping. Now, the other indicator that this helmet doesn't have is they pack theirs with a small piece of foam and duct tape right here by each bale. So if you see a piece of duct tape residue, or even I've got some with the little bit of duct tape there and a little bit of the foam left on it, right by the bales, you know it's an RJ stampings. So anyway, one thing I noticed about this helmet, this is a little unique, is later in World War II they went to the sort of curved, contoured chin strap bales. The GIs, of course, are well known for wearing it around the back of the helmet out of fear of a concussive force pulling up on their chin strap and causing neck injuries, which did happen. I don't know if anybody died from it. I don't recall ever hearing about broken necks, but it did happen, which is why they introduced the T1 Breakaway chin strap system, which this has, but the GI still didn't trust it, so they would put it around the back and wear it like that. So they basically bowed to the inevitable. But what I noticed is it's contoured like you expect. This one, the contour is actually facing the wrong way, so it actually makes it stick lower down out of the helmet instead of curving around it towards the back. Just an interesting little manufacturer variance that happens. Anyway, the helmet has the cat, like I said earlier. It's got a stress crack on the back, which is not unheard of. Long tab T1 clips and a squared off keeper. So later chin strap of the non-1975 variety. It also has some graffiti on the top that you can barely see. A four-letter word beginning with D and ending with K, and head. with an exclamation point. And I will leave the rest to your imagination. Alright, well, that's the shell, and this is a liner. Now, the shell didn't come with a liner, so I just put a liner with it, and because it's a later production, I put a later production liner with it. And this liner is, well, firstly, you can see it's got the removable webbing, which only it started in 1972, and production ran concurrent with removable and removable for a while. The Army did that a lot with M1 helmet production items. But anyway, it's got the nomenclature here. And these later ones, they didn't use crown stamps, or they had crown stamps of previous manufacturers from a reused mold. But as you can see, unusually from the way the liners usually are, the nomenclature is stamped vertical with how the liner is oriented. And what that means, it's from a company called Stemaco, S-T-E-M-A-C-O, which is a contraction of some of the manufacturers' names, and they're actually kind of rare. They only made about 150,000 of them, which, sure, that's quite a few, but when you compare it to the other manufacturers that made hundreds and hundreds of thousands or even millions, that's not a whole lot. I mean, for comparison, that's about as many of the rare general fiber subcontractor of the cardboard liners. And you know how rare those are. So these are as rare as those. Now, they're easier to come by because there's not a lot of collector demand for them. All right, and while I'm talking about it, I took the webbing out. And something else interesting that I just noticed, or just occurred to me, look at the interesting interweaving of the layers of the parison before it is molded. How it kind of overlaps in places, like it was cut and twisted a little bit. Now, other manufacturers did use that. I've seen it on earlier ones, but apparently Stemaco did too. So if you see that pattern, you might want to take a closer look at it. So if you see one, grab it, because they didn't make a lot of them. Snap the webbing back in there. Yeah, it's kind of nice. One wonders why they didn't think of that earlier, so they could replace trashed webbing and keep the liners in service. And apparently they did experiment with removable webbing fixed on the inside of the shell towards the very end of World War II. They did have the M3 and N5 flak helmets, which were a derivative of the M1, that did have removable webbing. So the idea was around there. It's just nobody applied it to the standard M1 liners until 1972. Which is kind of a shame, because had they done it with World War II and had a whole lot of extra World War II webbing replacement like they did with pretty much everything else, we would have a lot more serviceable World War II M1 helmet liners. But I don't know, maybe that's not so terrible. It makes our liners we do have that much more sought after. Well, anyway, so there you go. You have a nice RJ Stampings helmet with a rare Stemaco liner and cat insignia on the side. And something else you'll notice about the liner is the fit. It doesn't fit really great. You can see it sticking out here and pretty much all the way around. That's because specialty plastic products and Stemaco, when they started making them for some reason, loosened the tolerances for the liners, and they're actually somewhat slightly bigger than the early ones. So generally the fit is terrible. I mean, this one actually fits this helmet okay for these later liners, but if you put a cover on it and then have the flaps folded in there and fitted in there, you really got to wedge it in there in some cases. And I've seen, especially on paratrooper helmets, where they've actually resorted to taping them in to keep them in. But as you can see, it doesn't really fit that great. So if you had a cover in there, it would be sticking out even that much more. So if you see a picture of a guy wearing a helmet and the liner is really sticking out at the bottom, you know he's probably got one of the later production liners. And that would be that. Oh, and before I forget, if you like the video, leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye.